Stop! Police!
Oh, shit.
We have a multiple 600 in progress for most of each. Subject is 25 and appears to have shit his pants.
Get back here!
Hey, what's up? This is Community Service with Craig Conant. That's me.
Yeah.
But it was real.
Yeah, it's because it's shit you just realize on Mushroom. We're probably gonna. Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Community Service with Craig Conant. This is my buddy Tamer.
Hey.
I fucking started with this dude, and I love this guy.
We were neighbors, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 1245 Vine Street, the Villa Elaine apartment.
That's right.
What
You
a
have good
beautiful
memory.
garden on the bottom.
It was a dope
It was a
garden.
beautiful
You know what was
garden.
messed up though is the people on the first floor had really nice apartments,
Yeah.
and then ours weren't that nice.
No.
And then every time they'd be like, "Oh, come over for
Yeah.
a drink."
The
and then
bottom was like these vaulted ceiling
so nice.
cathedral. It was like, what is this? The fucking. I was
Yeah.
gonna bring up Notre Dame because it's on the burning. But
it was like
just
reverse.
nice.
It was like the reverse of life.
Yeah.
Where like the fancy people lived downstairs and the broke people lived.
But like
in the top.
40-foot ceilings, 1-2 bedrooms, and then we had like studios, no kitchen,
Yeah.
studios with kitchens,
with carpet.
with carpet, like dirty, rotten roach
Right?
carpet too.
Carpet's weird. It's like living in somebody else's t-shirt.
Yeah.
You know, you're just sitting in a t-shirt the whole time.
I never thought about it that way, but yeah, it's just something dirty about a studio apartment carpet in a 300 unit building where you don't know what's
It's like somebody's shoe. You're living in somebody's shoe.
You're like, there's a smell in here that I didn't put.
Yeah, and it's somebody else's feet. People, I don't know why carpet is okay. It's not okay.
It's not.
Like
it collects everything.
Everything.
It does feel good on your feet when it's
It
cold.
does feel good on your feet, but only if you buy it like virgin. I'll become a Muslim now, okay? Only virgin carpet.
What
only
is virgin carpet? Just
Meaning
brand
nobody
new?
else can have touched it.
Oh.
But like if
I thought it was like a brand. I was so naive.
weird.
I was like, what is this virgin carpet? They sell it at the carpet
No,
store?
man, like that's the only time I become possessive. Like only time I'll walk around on carpet.
You
is
touch
it-
my carpet?
Yeah, man, I don't want to
Get
touch
your
other
fucking
other
fat
people's
hairy
feet.
toe off my carpet.
I don't like feet that much.
My mom, I just completely took a left turn here, but I said get that fat hairy toe, and then it made me think of my mom because she gets gout in her toe. And
Oh, wow.
She always says, "Oh, my toe's hard right now," and she's like, "I got a hard on my toe," and she calls it her boner toe, and
That's funny.
we just fucking laugh, and she's over there with the sore,
I like
fucking
that.
hurt foot, like on and then my little nephew will fucking step on it. She's like, "Oh, that's my boner toe. Get off it."
That reminds me of this one time I was super stoned, and then this girl made me sad, and I couldn't express myself, so I go, "You kicked me in my heart's balls."
Yeah.
And it was like my way of expressing the pain, and I was like, "Yeah, heart's balls."
Yeah, I can't breathe right now.
It's visceral.
I can't breathe, devil woman. Back up.
Toe boners.
Boner toes. All right, well, you know what we got to talk about. This is my favorite story of all fucking time, dude.
Oh, that's awesome.
So when I first started comedy, we met in Jerry Katzman's class.
That's right. Actually, we weren't in the same class, but even back then, you were a guy I heard about. Even when
Really?
you were in a class, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And you were a little bit ahead of me. I don't know what, like just
Yeah,
a year
I
or
think I had
something?
just taken the class before.
Yeah, he's 6
Yeah.
months. But he was ahead of me. But this motherfucker's smart. Like he's just like what. It takes me
thanks.
a long time, people. Okay?
Dude, so are you, man. You're super smart.
But he just like he was already doing shows and doing it and doing the damn dance and he had knowledge in his brain, and I knew I was the new booty on the street. And I know my role. When you're a new guy, it's like you don't want to overstep your bounds. Just fly on the wall, shut your mouth, and watch, learn. But I knew I wanted. This was it. Like stand up. This is my mic. You know, this was it for me. I need to know the do's and don'ts of comedy. And then I said, because I didn't really know him yet, and I was like, "Hey man, I got a proposition for you." I was selling mushrooms at that time. It was pre-sobriety, Craig, you know, so I had the mushies. And I said, like, hey, I'll give you some mushrooms if you just give me the do's and don'ts of comedy. And he's like, yeah, no problem. He gave me his address. I went to his house, and then I gave him some mushrooms, and he gave me the best. You gave me the best fucking knowledge, because this is at a time when we had to do bringer shows and shit. We weren't established, and you know who's to do, who's not to do, who, you know, like just they're kind of shitty, but in your beginning, it's a necessary evil because it's how you get on shows.
There's no Google map
No.
for like open mic to headlining to you. You just have to figure it out on your own.
Good luck.
Yeah.
That's your Google map.
And even when you asked me, I was like, well, this is what I know, but I know that I don't know that there's any one way.
But you just did it right. You said shit that should be common sense. You're like, just go hang out at shows and immerse yourself in the scene and shake hands with producers and just say, hey, that was a great show. I'd love to be a part of it sometime. You just said be eager, but not like a pushy fucking pesty Pete, you know? Just be like a nice normal dude and shake hands, and then I took that.
Well, dude, can I say something right now? Because you just said something that made me think of something. That it's not always easy for me to like talk to other dudes when I feel like love towards them. Yeah. Because I didn't have a good dad, and so I don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? Like I'll say nice things to mannequins. Yeah. But to people it's hard. But dude, I couldn't be more proud of you, not for what you've done in comedy, but for how you've done it. And for you to give me like even an ounce of any kind of credit or inspiration in that kind of way, like is like crazy humbling. Because I think you work. Everybody goes, oh yeah, Craig, he's got that stoner laugh, or Craig's this guy who seems like he's not serious. You're one of the hardest working comics I know. You fucking show up all the fucking time. You've got like, and you're super crazy smart, but I'm not going to tell anybody because maybe that's your secret weapon. And like, dude, you're like, you do it right. And I can't tell you how many times I've said to myself, what would Craig do?
Damn.
You fucking, it's so like humbling for me to hear you say that I had any impact on that. When you influenced me not even a week later with the Art of War, or was it the War of Art? War of Art book, which I could never find that one DVD, and then I lost one of the CDs and felt like a dick.
I forgot about that.
You let me borrow it. It was a book on and I fucking lost one.
It's all right. That's what Amazon's for.
Yeah. But you should know that,
man.
Dude.
Fuck you. No, just
you should know that, dude. You work really fucking hard. Like you work harder than almost any other comic I know. You're like almost every other comic in the scene. I go, I outwork people, but you're the only guy I don't. I do not outwork you. You work fucking harder than anybody I know. You're a great comic. You deserve fucking everything. Well,
thank you.
Like if
man.
You were a horse, I'd gamble on you.
I am also a child of abuse, and I don't know how to take compliments.
Sorry,
but
I didn't mean to golden shower you
no, thank
with
you
compliments,
so much.
But I am, dude. That shit's real, and us guys don't say stuff like that to each other.
We don't,
because like what do they say when you're a kid? They say boys don't cry. It's like girls grow up with impossible physical standards, and we grow up with impossible emotional standards, and then we don't give each other compliments. And then that's why I like hanging out with gay guys. They're like, hey, you look nice. I'm like, thanks, man. Like, I love my gay friends. You know?
That explains that shirt.
Dude, I was trying. Oh, that's so
You're bringing me flashbacks. You remind me of every manager I've had at Trader Joe's, dude.
Dude, I was like channeling like whatchamacallit?
Tommy Bahama?
No, dude. Who's the guy that wrote Fear and Loathing?
Oh, yeah.
Hunter S. Thompson. Like one of my favorite writers.
Speaking of which, he was my inspiration to eat 6 grams of mushrooms. Oh, fuck.
The mushrooms you gave me were really good.
Of course. I always had good drugs.
Yeah. There's mushrooms.
I fucking... And if I had bad drugs, I would sell them cheap. I'd be like, hey, these aren't that good, but it's cheap. I know what I had.
You're a great drugpreneur.
Yeah.
How come they didn't have that name? Like when you're a mom and an entrepreneur, you're a mompreneur.
Because you were just called a loser.
A mushroompreneur. Losereneur.
Yeah.
Losereneur should be a word. Yeah, but I remember getting super high on the mushrooms, your mushrooms, and then calling you.
Yeah.
And then I called you and I was like, and I just started ranting and talking to you about how awesome it was. And then it was like I was giving you a one-on-one like Yelp review
tutorial
of
the mushrooms I gave you.
And then like halfway through, I freeze and I went, wait a minute, are you high? And you're like, no. And I'm like, I gotta go.
It was the funny. I felt the shift in energy through the phone, and I was enjoying the conversation. I was laughing because he's fucking tripping balls on mushrooms, and all of a sudden the brakes just. He's like, wait, are you high? And I was like, no. He's like, you're not high. I'm high. I gotta go. And he went, click. And it was over. And I just fucking laughed, dude. I was like, oh, man, those were the advice mushrooms.
They were great.
That was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, you gave me some fucking knowledge that I just ran with. And I appreciate you saying that I work hard. You work very hard, too. And it's like... For those comics out there that are trying to get into this, I don't know what to tell you other than just go fucking do it. That's serious. Immerse yourself and you just got, I didn't have no spots last night. What am I going to sit here? There's nothing happening here.
Yeah.
So I go to the Comedy Store and I talk shit with a bunch of fucking nut jobs. And then I come back here. And, I don't know. I'm not exactly a screenwriter. If you're a nerdy patootie motherfucker, then you sit on that desk and you write a script.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You find your path.
You just do what you got to do. Well, yeah, that shit was so funny.
You said something
mushrooms.
I remember, dude, when I started, there people would give me advice and I wouldn't get it until 4 years later, 5 years later. It was like they gave me a seed, but it didn't flower until
I listened
years
to
later.
all your shit immediately, and Grant Lyon. But that was after a few years because I pussyfooted around and I would do like a mic a year, and I just was. But Grant Lyon actually said
Grant's a hustler.
He's a fucking hustler.
Yeah.
He's so funny. He's my boy. I got to get him on here.
He's great.
But he said because I met him at improv class at UCB because I was still a pussy and I wasn't doing stand up. It was pre Jerry.
Improv's scary for people too.
What's fucking weird is improv. I did it first because I was scared of stand up, and now I'm scared of improv, and I'm not scared of stand up.
You know what's weird, dude? You know how culturally, a lot of people that are stand ups had bad childhoods, and culturally, a lot of people that do improv had good childhoods.
Yeah,
it's all. If you think about it, stand ups are afraid of improv, and improvisers are afraid of stand up because when you had a good family, you trust the group around you.
Yeah.
When you had a bad family, you're like, I'm not going up there with those 4 idiots. I don't trust that they're going to
know them.
But then and that's why improvisers are scared of being alone. I think why stand-ups are scared of being in a group.
Yeah.
It all has to do in some way. I'm sweeping generalization, of course.
It's pretty safe.
But
I would agree with this.
Right? I think there might be something to it.
And the improv world is it's way too happy where you're like, whoa, dude, do you kill
so
puppies,
weird.
bro? I don't trust.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, how are you?
Yeah,
and then
dude.
the stand-up world is so dark and depressing and
Yeah.
suicidal. You're like, oh, fuck. I wish there was a little bit of a mashup and a nice middle ground.
And sometimes people that have a better environment unintentionally offend you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're so happy it makes you mad.
Yeah.
I remember one time we moved to a better neighborhood. When I'm an immigrant, when we were coming up, and this I became friends with this rich kid. And then he called my house, and my mom answered and just said, well, who is this? What's your name? Oh, okay, you go to school, Tamer, that kind of stuff. And then I got on the phone, and he's like, dude, why is your maid so nosy? And I was like, rich kids,
That was like the worst insult ever.
Right?
Accidentally.
I was so mad. I was like, fuck you, man. That's my mom. And I think sometimes improvisers are so happy, like emotionally wealthy, where we're emotionally poor.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I met my girlfriend's parents and they're great. And I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah. That's so funny. But yeah, at UCB, I met Grant Lyon, and basically because he was doing stand up and doing it, headlining and shit. And I was like, and he said, basically, you need to stop being a little bitch and go do it.
Wow.
And I fucking listened. I swear to God. He's like, I would drive 6 hours to go to this open mic because I never done it before. He's like, that's what it takes. And then I listened. And then after that, I drive to fucking San Diego with you to do that bar show for 6 people for
right.
$20, My first paid gig, Tamer and Kattan. Thank you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
featured
cool.
for you. That was dope. I got to do 15. I was shitting my pants.
You always do awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I've never seen you not do great.
Thank you, bud.
It's funny because Grant and I did a show together in Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah.
and it was right during the Trump elections and stuff, and I was doing political stuff, and he and I both had just had our girlfriends break up with us.
Yeah.
It was really weird. And then we're in Wichita, did shows, people started booing me. They didn't like I had this one Trump joke where I go, I don't want to call Trump retarded, but I will say he seems like the kind of guy that pets cats too hard. And people were
That's
like,
a great joke.
I'm like, it's not an anti-Trump joke. It's a pro-cat joke.
Yeah.
People were like yelling at me
That's
and shit.
that's a Lenny joke. That's a mice and men joke. That fool's a rabbit strangler over there. We got Lenny for a fucking president.
But Grant was a warrior, dude.
That's how he got his hair.
Yeah.
He's petting the cat too hard.
Yeah, exactly.
He just fucking.
I like that.
He snuffed it out and put it on his head.
Yeah, I would call his hair color tabby.
hey, we got a tabby president. Oh, that's funny. There you go. You got some tags.
But shout out to Grant because he was like, we were in Wichita, Kansas together, and totally like was a brother. You know, like we took care of each other, fucking hung out together, like talked to each other through the breakups. We had a good old time.
Yeah, that he's so funny.
Yeah, he's
and
great.
Such a good dude.
Yeah, he's a
I
good
met him
dude.
at dodgeball. He got me into dodgeball.
Oh,
Grant,
wow.
you saved my fucking life. You got me into stand up. You called me a little bitch and you punked me. But I am the type of guy. I don't know why I'm talking to the camera like it's Grant. But I'm the
so
type of guy
artistic.
that like I need that. Like, oh yeah, don't be a little bitch. And then in my head, that's all the seed I needed to be like, don't be a bitch, go fucking get it. And it's weird.
Which is so funny because Grant's resting face is like resting sweet face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so hard to even picture him telling somebody, don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
But that's great.
He
that
might
gave
not
you-
even have said that, but that's all I heard. It was
That's
like, don't
great,
be
though.
a bitch. Like that was my interpretation.
Yeah.
You're right, because he is so nice. He's like, you just gotta be a man and go do it. And I was like, all right, don't be a fucking little bitch, you motherfucker.
But you know,
and
he-
that was like my interpretation of it.
You know, he lives in that house, him and Dave Wade.
That's the funniest
and Sean.
fucking household ever.
It is, right? And they call it a dad's house. They call it a comedy.
Dave Wade, Mitch Burrow, Grant Lyon.
Exactly.
Three funny motherfuckers.
So maybe he pulled the dad energy from that house
Yeah.
and like, said, don't be a bitch.
That house is so funny.
Which I think all of us are going to want to be bitches in the future. They're taking over.
Bitches?
Dude, they're taking over. I saw a movie on Netflix.
Bitches ain't shit but tricks and hoes.
See, like there's a movie on Netflix.
Snoop, bitches.
I grew up with that, dude.
Yeah, of
like I
course.
totally grew up with that. I remember this song about I met this girl named was Janet. Booty was as big as the whole damn planet.
Yeah,
Remember
that was Dog Pound.
Dog was that?
Yeah, that
no,
was Dog Pound.
It was. I think it was Too Short.
That was Too Short?
It was West Coast rap. I think it was Too Short.
Okay.
But it was like all about chicks.
Dog
chicks,
Pound's
chicks.
West Coast too. I don't know. That's old school shit. But all I listened to with that shit.
Or maybe it's Luke Skywalker.
No, I definitely wasn't that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Well, anyways, like now I saw this documentary on Netflix called No Men Beyond This Point. And it was like a mockumentary of the future where like women have taken over and like in all the babies now are like immaculate conceptions, like the Virgin Mary. And people are like, what? And women like literally don't need men anymore. And then
I believe it.
Yeah, dude. And
we
like,
kind of ruined shit quite often.
we did, dude. It was the scariest movie ever. Like because they were not having sex with men, all the babies were women.
Yeah.
And now the youngest man on earth was like 34 and he was like taking care of people's babies, of all the working women's babies.
That's awesome.
It is awesome, but it's a scary future.
Yeah, I'm
We got to
scared.
watch out.
I'll
So
just become a woman.
I want to be a house man. I don't want to be a field man.
I'll take the field.
No, I'll kiss ass to be in the house
I'll be a field.
if ladies take over.
If it's planting seeds and watching them thrive, I'll take the field.
Farming is nice.
It is nice.
It's so green outside your house right now because of all the rain in California.
I've been hiking lately and it's green. Normally Runyon and Griffith is like shit brown dirt hill that if you fart a fire will start.
Right.
And now it's just like green and flowers are blooming. You're like, what is this, Los
Dude,
Angeles?
even walking into your house felt like it was so lush and green. I felt like
Yeah.
I was walking into a place in Portland.
Yeah, they need to trim the bushes.
I'm just bummed that it's going to go away.
That
soon.
walkway's getting a little narrow.
It's gonna
bush league.
It's
bush.
going to get brown soon though. It's so LA It's as if the whole state of LA got plastic surgery,
Yeah, it'll fade.
and then it'll fade away.
Those cheeks will sag soon enough. That fucking apple box butt.
Apple box.
You know when they get the booty surgery and it's like fake and it looks like a triangle. And
I've
you're
seen
like,
that, yeah.
Hey, arrowhead ass, get out of here with that fake shit. Just be flat like
Dude, it's
God
so
intended.
Weird.
Fucking pancake
Dude,
ass.
when I started, when I was like way younger, it was like, I was like in my 20s when boob jobs first came out. And it was like early on. So dating was kind of like Jack in the Box. You know, you're like, oh, I might find fake boobs today. Because I didn't know what they felt like or what they looked like or anything. And then like finally on like this 4th date, I met this girl who had fake boobs and I got to feel them. And they felt so well. The first ones weren't that great.
Yeah.
But then there was a girl whose boobs I felt that had like they felt so real.
It's the difference of money.
It is. Yeah. That's what it was.
It's money. Are you rich?
Yeah, she was a producer.
First of all, I don't think any woman should ever get breast implants unless, you know, of course, some crazy shit or breast reduction. Your back's breaking, you know.
Yeah.
But because I like natural titties better, but there are some high dollar fakes.
Yeah.
Oh man, those are pretty cool, huh?
They were too good though. I couldn't
Could have
stop.
fooled me, you know.
But there's a point where they get too good, and then like I couldn't stop touching her boobs. She's
Yeah.
like, "What about the rest of me?" I felt like a cat, and her boobs were laser pointers.
Yeah.
I like couldn't stop.
What about those fucking low end rock ones though? They just look like fucking UFOs.
It makes me
On
feel
there.
bad. Like it's surgery, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you
that's-
put it in, and they're like, imagine if you had surgery and somebody put something in, and then a week later they're like, "Oh, we upgraded.
yeah.
That's
that-
an iPhone 7 underneath your chest. Now we have an iPhone 8." You're like, "I just had surgery."
You're like, yeah, that's true. I never thought about that. It's like, oh shit, the better models are in.
Yeah, because
Sorry about the fucking saucer plate titties.
Do you
or whatever.
Do you always talk with your pinky out like that?
I don't know.
It's kind of fancy.
I'm kind of scared to touch this, so that's why I was doing that.
Sorry.
How do we get on fake titties? But
I
hey,
know. I'm sorry.
No,
I took
it's
a left
okay.
turn.
we could talk about whatever. I don't care anymore. We're all gonna die. It doesn't matter.
Dude, what gave you the idea to do community service for the podcast?
Just my whole life, just getting arrested, and I've had to do court-ordered community service several times throughout my life, and that Caltrans freeway cleanup, beach cleanup, and the whole moral, just of trying to be better, trying to be a better version of yourself.
That.
And, it's easier said than done, and just trying to be like, hey, you could eat 6 grams of mushroom and puke in front of a poor innocent family walking by in the park in the daytime.
Yeah.
Or you could not do that anymore.
You want to know the Trojan horse that the theme of this podcast is? Is it you're such like a good dude? Like you've got this positive energy. I think people can tell like through the podcast. And you fucked up so bad so many times.
So bad.
So it like teaches people like this whole mentality of like, oh, 3 strikes you're out or lock. It's like
Hey,
people
it's
get
not
better.
3 strikes. It's about 80, 89, 312. I don't fucking know. There's a lot of strikes.
More than Johnny Cash.
Yeah. You just get a lot of fucking strikes. Sometimes you fall on your face and break your nose. Sometimes you just the catcher drops it and you get to run to first.
But people
and you
learn.
get away with it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
That was what I tell your story so often about the fireworks.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was my claim to fame, baby. Firecrackers under the policemen on horses.
You know what? I think that's kind of like a guy thing. Like we have to learn from failing. Like a little girl could watch another girl burn her hand on a stove and be like, "Oh, don't do that." A little boy has to burn his hand.
I could watch you light your body on fire and then be like, I'll try that.
Yeah, let's see how that feels.
I'll do that too.
Yeah.
And then we'll both just be burned and we'll be like, oh. And then it'll take maybe 7 or 8 more burns and then you learn.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's how dumb guys are.
Totally. Like I did an accidental social experiment when I was a kid. I had this burrito that like was rotten.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this smells so gross. And then there were like 3 of my guy friends and 1 girl. And I'm like, dude, smell that. And they're like, ugh. And then the other guy was like, ugh. And the other guy was like, ugh. And then the girl's like, no.
Yeah.
I know it's wrong.
I would have been next and been like, let me do it.
We're so stupid.
Fucking.
That's why, like, we need to be given more chances.
Oh, I know. I don't know what it is. We just don't learn, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, you've got a cool aesthetic. Do you ever show your place on the podcast?
I a little bit. Yeah, I'll turn the camera.
Do you ever show
around.
that sign that says, I am so grateful now that my career is blowing up with hearts and a happy face?
I'm glad you like it because Michael Lanochi is a downer and he made fun of me for
Dude,
it.
it's so
Hater.
good. Everybody, when I first started, everybody told me the one piece of advice I always heard was work hard, be nice. And
Yeah.
it's a piece of advice where I was like, oh, that means nothing. You just didn't mean that. There's no real weight. That's only 2 sentences. That can't mean anything. It's
true.
like, it's the best advice and it's the hardest advice.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's you, dude. You're like somebody who's grateful for your shit. You work hard, you be nice. I'm not going to keep complimenting because it's going to get weird. But I mean, but it is, that's fucking great advice that I didn't even fully get it until like year 6.
Yeah.
Because here's what it means to me. It means like what you did with Tammy, right? Like I always felt like I work hard and I'm a nice guy. But if somebody's a dick to me, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And I felt like I'm still a nice guy. That guy wronged me or that girl wronged me. But really, what a nice person does is goes, everybody goes through shit.
Yeah.
Everybody's going through something. Maybe
you don't know what they're going through.
You don't
in
know
that
what they're
day.
going
you don't know
through.
if they
Yeah.
just lost their dad or whatever,
Exactly.
and they're having a bad day.
And that's what it means. It means like more than it just like a regular good person. Like just realize that everybody that's in this chase for like one of the hardest jobs in the world and the most sought after jobs in the world. You know what I mean? It's almost like running the LA Marathon and being a Kenyan. There's all these people in the front that just want a t-shirt. They're like, let me get past you. You know what I mean? Like they're in it, like people pop in and pop out because there's so many other like tangential
it is weird.
careers.
It
you
is
know?
so weird that like someone that is just an actor of 12 years be like, I'm gonna try stand up. It's like,
Yeah.
you're different. Like we need this.
Yeah.
I will die without it. And you're like, I'm gonna try it. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Man.
You're fucking
Yeah.
wasting stage time, bitch. Let me do what I gotta do. And that's the truth, though.
Yeah.
But you can't say that to them. And sometimes they come in and they're actually good and they flourish and they go. But most of the time, they're a corny ass motherfucker. That ain't real. You know what I mean?
I love I've been saying corny more than any other time, and it's
Yeah.
because I started playing golf with an old black man. He says corny
Yeah.
more than a guy that has a corn farm. Like I've never seen, and I say it all the time now. It's my new favorite
It's
word.
good, man.
It feels good.
I swear
Corny.
to God, I think I was black in a past life.
I think so too.
I don't know. I just always have vibrated towards that culture. I fucking lived in Inglewood for 2 years. Come on, baby. That's racist.
Well, I was born in Egypt, and I used to wear hair curlers in my hair.
Oh, yeah. You
so
are
I think
black.
I was born a poor black child.
Yeah, you Steve Martin, baby. The jerk. But yeah, just like even as a kid, like I always watched Moesha and Brandy and,
Yeah.
and In the House and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm Mexican. My mom grew up in the projects and we just liked urban culture and shit.
Yeah.
But she's a square. I don't even know. But like I always watch like Hanging with Mr. Cooper and Mad TV and not SNL. You
Yeah.
know, like just something.
You related to them.
And I listened to hip hop, Too Short, Tupac
Yeah.
first. And like my friends are like, you gotta try Green Day Dookie. I'm man, fuck that corny ass shit. Give me motherfucking Me Against
It
the World,
wasn't-
Tupac,
it wasn't
baby.
us.
Wu-Tang.
Because skin color is such a false flag, you know. And I learned this when my dad had cancer. This is actually kind of a crazy story. I used to go with my dad to do chemo on Fridays, and it was him and there was an older black dude that was there, but his kids lived up in Seattle, so he was always by himself. So we talk all the time, and then he saw me wearing this necklace. It's a Nefertiti, and the black dude was like, "Oh, why do you have that Nefertiti? Have you been to Egypt?" And I'm like, "No, I'm actually Egyptian." He goes, "What? You're Egyptian?" Like, "Oh, that's on my bucket list. I've always wanted to go to Egypt. I've always wanted to see Egypt." And I've always loved that about African Americans. When you immigrate to America as an Egyptian, most people shit on Egypt. But a lot of African Americans are like, "Whoa, you're from Egypt? Like, that's cool." So then this guy, I'd go there during chemo to crack jokes with them and make them laugh and stuff. And then my dad died, and this guy had 3 more weeks, but his kids never came down. So I kept going. And then at my final week, he goes, man, you and your dad, man, you guys made me dizzy. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, all my life, I've thought of myself as a black man, as an African American. And if I saw another black person, even if I didn't know him, I'd give him an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Because my biggest struggle was being black. And I knew that they knew what that was like. He said, but then I got cancer. And my biggest struggle became having cancer. And I stopped feeling like an African American and started feeling like a cancer American. He's all, now I feel closer to you and your dad than I do to anybody that has my skin color. And I was like, whoa. And it made me go like, maybe that's where identity really lives, is that like, especially now, because of the internet, we can find groups that are like us, is like, you can find someone that's not your skin color and be like, I relate to them because their pain sounds like my pain.
Yeah.
Or the stuff they're talking about feels like shit that I feel. So you could look at it like a Blink 182, and even though they look more like us, I could be like, yeah, I don't know what that's like. I had a totally different life than you.
I ain't got no tattoos. Travis.
Yeah, and I've got so many. Like an angry trucker drew on my arm.
I can't believe I never got a tattoo. I just didn't. Went straight to drugs, baby.
Your tattoos are on the inside.
My tattoos are on my liver. Oh, fuck.
That's what I say when I started comedy. I'm like a cutter, but on the inside.
Yeah. Just destroy my body.
Yeah. Or breaking it in, dude. I feel like the body's like jeans.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't have
Now I got
any
the
wash
cool
to
ones.
it, yeah. You can't be a total nerd. You got to wash them up, get some cuts and some rips. You don't have a crease.
You start out with Wrangler and you die with G-Star, you know, or Diesel. Fucking Lee. Start off with Lee. I was trying to explain what Lee was to somebody, and they're like, "You mean Levi's?" I'm like, "No, just Lee." They're like, "What are those?" Like, it's just farmer shit. Like, you know,
dude,
dad
I never
shit.
even connected that Lee sounds like Levi's.
Yeah, just L-E-E.
Yeah.
You want some no pussy getting jeans? You get Lee.
That's so
L-E-E.
But in Europe, they're huge. It's
Really?
so weird, dude.
What the fuck?
In Europe,
You're
Lee
supposed
jeans
to be
are
ahead of us.
They are supposed to be, but they like treat us like we're like it's like America's like a band and Europe's a cover band, and like they pick which songs of ours they want to play.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes you go to Europe and they're dressing kind of like country American, and then Obama came in office and then they dress like more urban American and more hip hop American. And then you could tell, like, when Europe doesn't like us, they all start wearing the British flag on their clothes.
Yeah.
But when they like us, there's American flags.
Yeah.
It's
I was
weird.
just about to say, you got smart analogies. I'm like, damn, I never would have thought of that.
I love the phrase, you got smart analogies. It sounds like something a dude in Duck Dynasty would have said.
It's true.
Well,
Yo,
you.
man, you got smart analogy.
That was a great duck.
I'm a quacker, bro. Been quacking out my ass my whole life. My mom fart sounds like quacks because she's got such a big booty. They sound like they sound muffled, like they struggle to get out. They're just like
Like
a big booty mama, Tilly.
like a cat that squishes its body under.
Yeah. When you accidentally sit on a cat and it's like, meow.
Dude, I feel like cats would be good for guys that don't know about consent, that like don't understand consent. Like I never had a cat until recently. I just had dogs, and dogs are like, you can touch me whenever you want,
Yeah.
bro.
Not a cat.
Dogs are like
Not a cat.
Dogs are like strippers. You feed me, you can do whatever you want to me.
Yeah.
Right? I don't mean no offense to strippers, but
got
that's
a big stripper population,
I'm not saying you should ever
podcast.
do whatever you want to. That's not what I'm saying at all. I have many friends that are strippers as well, and I respect
I tried to
strippers.
say a big stripper audience, and I said big stripper population podcast. I said that right now.
Big
Did
stripper
anybody catch
population
that?
podcast?
And I caught it. I was like, what the fuck did you
I
just
like
say?
that. That's dope. Big stripper population podcast.
Big in the titty bars. We got upgrades. iPhone 10 titties coming at you. Coming in hot. Call back, baby. What were we ranting about?
I
I'm
forgot.
sorry. I
There was
stopped
something
it with
about
my stupid words. I just was like,
No, I don't remember. There was something about.
Cats and consent.
oh, cats
Yes.
and consent.
So here's the thing. Like when I had a dog, as long as I fed the dog, I could pet him anytime I wanted to. And then I had a cat, and sometimes the cat doesn't want to be petted, and I go to pet it, and it arches its back like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Like it's grossed out by me.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
And then so now I know, don't touch the cat.
And even
It'll
when
make you feel bad.
sometimes too, like a cat will be all snuggly, and then you touch it the wrong way, and it go, ah!
Yeah,
and you're like,
exactly.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like,
I thought we were in love.
Yeah. Like, you know how when you were a kid,
This
and
isn't fair.
like you when you were a kid in school, they gave you like an egg to take care of. It's like, take care of this egg. If you can do it for a week without it breaking,
have a kid.
You could have a kid. I think they should do that with guys before they're going on their first date. Here's a cat.
Yeah.
If you don't get scratched in a week, you
Yeah.
could go out on a date with a lady.
You could
That
get some
makes sense.
pussy. If you don't get cut by this pussy, we'll let
Then
you
you
get
could go
some
out
real
with
pussy.
this pussy.
Oh man, we are black. Pussy. But this it. Buddha dick and pussy. Bernie Mac was the greatest
Oh,
fucking
dude, that
entertainer
guy,
the world ever
dude.
knew. Oh
That
my
guy.
God, that guy was the
He
best.
made my heart laugh.
He was like fucking new gen Richard Pryor. That's what that motherfucker
sure.
was.
There's one thing
Jesus
that he
Christ.
said. My mom unintentionally does Bernie Mac whenever she calls somebody a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
She calls him a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I always hear Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
But
You
it's
son of a
just my
bitch.
mom with her
I'll
Arabic
beat
accent.
your head to the
Son of a
white
bitch.
meat show.
To the white meat. That's right. I
He
love
used to always
yeah.
say that shit. He had a very W.C. Fields, like angry at kids. Like,
Yeah.
Motherfucker. He was
Somebody
the
threatened me
best.
with that when I was a kid once. So I'm going to beat you to the white
He
meat.
was
And
so
I'm like,
good.
oh, it's so visual. So visceral.
God damn it. What were we talking about right before that? It was I go left field so much, but Bernie Mac is worth it.
That's even more fun.
It was more fun. But I had something else to say, and I'm always like, get back to that. And then I
Cats.
go down Bernie Mac.
Something about
Oh, the cats. Yeah, I don't know. I just said pussy, and I started talking like Bernie Mac.
It's hard not to talk like Bernie Mac.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
so
I
fun.
remember. I wanted to touch, like, yeah, we're not trying to make light of any sexual abuse or trauma you've been to. And if a dude is wrong to you, let's chop his dick off.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, you might be in the heat of things and in the moment, and you guys change your mind, and we're just left with this fucking big old boner toe going, what did I do wrong? I don't understand. And then we got it. I don't know. Maybe I should have shut my mouth earlier.
No, it could happen. I think that's the evolution.
happened.
No one taught us, you know? Like, I think sometimes being a human being is like, it's like when you get a laptop and you think it's just going to be blank. It's not blank. There's programs on there. There's like memo pad, there's Word, there's this, there's that. And I think we're that way. We're born with like software in our brain that we didn't ask for. It's like that U2 album that they put on the iPhone.
Oh, I hate that.
I
I
hate
deleted
that.
that,
I didn't
shit.
buy
I
that.
deleted that shit.
And then,
yo,
like-
fuck you too.
Yeah. And like the way we grew up, like girls are like, oh, you know, that's sexist and this is sexist and that's sexist. And we know there's new software that we have to download, but sometimes give people a chance to evolve. I'm not talking about sexual assault. That's different. But it's like, it's new software. Some of the older cats, especially, like you got to give them a chance to evolve. Some people can do it. Some people can download the new software, but some people are flip phones. And they can't do it.
There goes
Smart
those
analogy.
smart analogies
You like that? Was that a
again.
smart analogy?
Sm-
But it's like we're evolving a lot. I think people take that for granted. Like how fast changes are happening. Like it's good, but like some people aren't necessarily bad people if they make a small mistake. For sure there's a mistake. Physical, once it gets physical, that's different. But like sometimes I've made mistakes where I like offended somebody unintentionally and I'm like, "Oh no. I just had that U2 album. Oh no, like it wasn't me."
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything creepy. Speaking of creepy,
Yeah.
comedy clubs are like, oh, 2-drink minimum.
That's creepy.
That's creepy.
That's creepy. Talk about consent comedy club.
Right?
we're
It's
we're
so-
not going to get booked anymore. That's how we make our money, motherfucker.
When it goes viral, everybody's like protesting 2-drink minimums.
And all the clubs go out of business is because of community service podcast.
But I think people would drink more if they didn't give them a 2-drink minimum. 2-drink minimum, it feels like a rule and feels kind of Cosby.
I always tell people, like, it doesn't have to be alcohol. It could be 2 Pepsis. And they go, what's the fucking point? And I go, touche.
There you go.
Good
Yeah.
point. Good luck on that journey. See you in 5 years, loser.
It's insecure. It's a little insecure, is what it is.
Yeah.
Like it's like going on a date with a girl and her saying, "We have to make out at the end. We have to make out, or we're not going out." She goes, "All right. Well, I was gonna let you touch my boobs."
Yeah,
And I'm like,
but
"Dang
you,
it."
you just made it real weird. Made it real weird. You're not touching these iPhone 10s. I'm fucking callback Craig today.
It's fun. It's
nice.
I like
love live
callbacks. Yeah, I
It's
do
fun.
too. It's nostalgic, even if it was just 4 minutes
Yeah,
ago.
you just
Hey, remember that thing we did yesterday?
Nope. I don't remember
That's
shit.
what girls are like. I feel like you know how like there's years and dog years? Like if a guy doesn't see another guy for like a month, he's like, "Hey bro, good to see you."
Yeah.
If a girl doesn't see another girl for 3 hours, they're like, "Oh my God,
What happened?
I don't mean to sound hacky, but I just saw that like the other day where like my lady saw this a girlfriend of hers. Like I swear it'd been a week. That's it. And they looked like they were hugging at an airport when a refugee was given amnesty.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you just saw each other.
We could not see each other every year and be like, "I was in New York, good, okay, cool," and that's it. Like that's a year of conversation
Yeah.
summed up. It was good.
Yeah.
That's
Even
it.
when
that's all I need. I don't care. I can't.
you give real hugs though. I'll tell you that. Like sometimes I hug some of my guy friends. We look like Amish kids
Yeah.
at a dance.
Yeah, I don't do those awkward. I
Like, hold your-
embrace.
Make room for Jesus.
I embrace whether you're stinky, hairy, titty, no titty. You fucking, you
Yeah.
get a good old hug.
That's one thing for me. Hugging. I never thought about it before. But I hug everybody.
Yeah.
I hug guys and girls. But I was at this club the other night and I saw a girl I've known for a long time. We've known each other for years. And sometimes if I hug someone and then I don't hug someone, I feel like it would make that person feel bad.
Yeah, it's
And
a
then
weird area.
It's kind of weird, right? And then I remember I gave her a hug and I felt weird. I was like, oh, her energy felt kind of weird. Like maybe I probably shouldn't have hugged her. But then I was like, oh, and it's one of those things. Like maybe people should talk about that, about like when to hug and not hug, and if it's okay.
It is funny though, because like if you know two people and then you don't know a third and you hug, "Hey, what's up?" Hug, and then
Right.
you're like, "No, I hug you."
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. It just depends on their vibe.
Yeah.
I'll reach a hand out, but if they go for the fucking arms up, and then I'll be like, "All right, we're hugging strangers."
Well, I knew at the end of the show was cool because at the end of the show she hugged me goodbye, but I kind of intentionally like went out of like I kind of avoided her until she left, and I kind of followed her lead. Maybe that's it, like follow her lead. I'm so scared.
I'm scared.
It is. It's scary to be a guy though, because we don't want to be put in the fucking boat with those other dudes,
Yeah. It's,
with the bad
it's
dudes.
probably still scarier to be a girl. you
It
know?
is scary to
That
be a girl
whole,
for sure. of
Walking into your
course.
car and getting
Yeah,
murdered
that's true.
thing is a big downer.
Dude, that happened to me one time. I didn't realize it till I did a show in Chicago, and my lady had called me, and it was like 2:30 in the morning, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I go, "Oh, I'm just walking back to the hotel." She goes, "You're walking?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "On the south side of Chicago?" And I go, "Yeah, it's really nice out." And she goes, "Oh, you're so lucky." And she said the phrase, "You're so lucky." And it was completely different than, "Oh, you feel safe, I feel unsafe." It was the phrase, "You're so lucky," that made me feel bad. I was
Yeah,
like,
because
oh.
she straight up needs a fucking gun if she's
Yeah.
gonna do that.
It was a moment of joy I had, like beautiful weather. I had a great show. I got to walk down the street and look at the architecture, and like that's a nice human moment to be able to do that. And when she said, "You're so lucky," I was like, oh, like it made me get it. Like I'm like, oh, I kind of get it now.
Yeah,
That
you're like,
sucks.
oh fuck,
Yeah.
that's a real shitty thing.
But I did get harassed by a drunk gay guy, so I kind of.
Yeah, but that makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
You're like, thanks, big boy. I was down, but now I'm up.
It'd be weird if there was like a gay construction site where there was like a building exclusively
Yeah.
built by gay construction men. Like I'd walk by that building. Like I don't know, maybe they'd be a little bit more crude though, because
Yeah.
they'd be gay construction guys.
That'd be dope. Whenever you're feeling bad about yourself, be like,
I've never seen.
I didn't think I had an ass, but according to Roy, I do. Thanks, Roy.
I've only seen two real life gay construction men. One was in The Incredible Kimmy Schmidt, the boyfriend of
Yeah.
the black dude, and then the other was the Village People. But I've never seen a real live gay construction man.
Oh, they be out there. They're probably just on the down low.
Probably.
Because they in the union. And they got them old union ways. They're not evolved like we are in West Hollywood, baby. Tuck it in, tuck it out. Who gives a shit? Fucking whip it out. Boy, this is getting weird, huh? Oh.
I like the lights.
We should tell one of my favorite bits of yours is when you call Loveline.
Oh,
That is such a good story.
oh thanks,
That is
man.
such a good story.
Yeah,
You still do that shit?
I do. Yeah,
It's
I
fantastic.
use it
It's
as my closer a
beautiful.
lot.
Yeah, because it's like my Firecracker assault. It's like my favorite
Yeah.
story because it's real and it's true. And yeah, I've been doing it a long time, but that just fucking happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to retire a joke that happened.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
you're like, if I just wrote a joke about a fucking Uber, that's so easy to drop.
Yeah.
But when it's part of your identity and really you
You know what's
becoming
funny,
a comic,
dude? It's also, I think in a lot of ways, it's a huge part of my comedy in the sense that was when it, like a lot of times people say comedy comes from darkness or real life experiences. And like, for me, that was a time when everybody was laughing at me and there was nothing I could do about it.
yeah.
Like nothing. And everybody was laughing at me so hard and for so long that I was like, huh, okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
And then I started making fun of myself.
It's so
And
funny.
I think it was
It's so
moments
funny.
like that made me a comic.
Tell him what you did.
So because my parents were like Middle Eastern and kind of like my dad especially was kind of conservative, like they never talked to me about sex or anything. And at the time there was it was like the 90s and everybody was talking about AIDS on the news and HIV. And it was at a point where people were even afraid to touch gay people. And my mom's best friend was a gay guy and who owned a flower shop named Bob, who made all my corsages. So I got to go with way hotter girls to prom than I deserved because of the flowers that Bob made.
Fuck yeah.
Like, so
yeah.
I grew up with that gay culture close to me, and then this paranoia on the news and this rift in the family where my mom was like, we need to go visit Bob. And my dad's like, no way.
Yeah.
HIV is rampant. And so my dad made me scared of HIV. And everything in the news was like, look, gay zombies, look out for,
Yeah.
gay semen, And
It was
so
the fear factory of
totally
the news.
fear factor. It was like, they talked about it like it was the plague.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was still really young. I'd never even masturbated before. And so I remember going into a bathroom and I found like a Playboy magazine that my dad had. And it was an anniversary edition. It was Marilyn Monroe. Like, I'm really stoked that the first girl I ever masturbated to was Marilyn Monroe.
Mine was Anna Nicole Smith. Or my first Playboy. My first masturbation was actually Kathy Ireland on a Red Book, but there was no nipple.
That's too bad.
Whack.
That's still good though. That's still
But I
like.
was young. I was ahead of the curve.
So I have my dad's Playboy. I go in the bathroom. I lock the door. I'm masturbating for the first time. And people don't talk about this, but the first time you come, it's like, what is this? Nothing like this has ever come out of my body before.
Yeah, it's very, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's scary.
Just happened to me.
Yeah.
I
So-
don't know about that.
So I grabbed toilet paper and I wiped it off. And right when I wiped it off, and I was scared because I'm like, this is the stuff that's on the news,
Yeah.
Like, so right then my dad banged on the door. Like right after I wiped it off, my dad, he's like, what are you doing in there so long? And I'm like, I'll be right out, But out of nerves and habit, I wipe my butt with the same piece of toilet paper. So and then I was like, oh my God, oh no.
Hey,
And
it's
then
old cum butt over here.
I even wet the toilet paper to wipe from the sink to get the semen out. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I started freaking out and I started going, does this mean I have AIDS?
Yes, it does.
Semen got in my butt. Like, this is scary, Like, I was legit scared and I had no one to talk to about it, because my dad was homophobic and I didn't want to talk to my mom because I didn't want her to because my mom was too open.
Yeah.
And I didn't want her to go oh, talk to Bob, but thankfully at the time, Loveline was around. And so my parents were in bed and I woke up and I snuck into the kitchen and I called Loveline. And I was on hold for an hour and a half. And then the screener came on. He goes, hey, buddy, I'm so sorry for the situation. I'm sorry you've been on hold for so long, but we're running out of time. I don't think we're going to be able to put you on the show, but I'm here to help. So why don't you tell me what your problem is? And I go, my name is Tamer. I'm 15 years old. I just wiped my butt with my own semen. And I'm wondering if I gave myself AIDS. And then the phone's really quiet. And then I go, also, I've been on the phone for a really long time. So I'm wondering how much longer I have to wait. And the guy goes, oh, you are next.
That's my favorite.
They actually went long just to get me on the show. And like, I thought like, you know, I told him everything. I even used my real name like an idiot, like, cause I didn't think to use a fake name. And it was
Tamer
like,
Kattan, K-A.
oh, I didn't say my last name,
okay.
but my first name is like Cher, Madonna. There's not a lot of Tamers, you know?
Right.
So it was like, I got
Your name's not
humiliated.
Roy.
I was humiliated at school, dude. Like everybody made fun of me. And
For sure.
it
dude.
was so messed
That's my
up,
favorite punchline ever. Hang on. You're next. You're next is such a funny punchline, dude. It's one of those
Thanks,
punchlines
man.
where I've heard it several times, but you can't wait for it. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. You know, it's not.
Well, dude, here's the crazy thing. Speaking about like universe, because you made me start thinking that way about like manifesting things and thinking about the universe. And today, 3 days, you and I both talk about this. Sometimes as a comic, there's so many things you can apply to and audition for that you're not always aware. And like one of my friends still listens to K-Rock, to Kevin and Bean. And he told me, he's like, hey, you should audition for this April Foolishness thing. So I said, sure. And because he reminded me, and I sent in my tape. And just today, on my way here, as I was parked in my car, they mentioned me on the air.
Yeah.
And they said that so if I do get that April Foolishness gig, I'm going to tell that story on stage.
You have to.
Right? Like
It's
I have,
perfect.
like I literally have
And
a
it goes
K-Rock
with,
closer joke.
Yeah. It's so perfect. You're next. Oh,
You are
fuck,
next.
dude. Gets me every
It's
time.
so embarrassing because there's been times where I've been with my mom, and then like people who've seen me at the shows have like, they remember you sometimes by your joke the way your neighbor will remember you by your dog at a dog park, you know? They're like, oh, I like that thing better than you.
Yeah.
And I was with my mom at lunch, and this guy goes, oh my God, hey dude, I saw you at the Comedy Store. And I'm like, oh, wow. He's like, you're that guy that gave yourself AIDS. and my mom was like, what did he say?
And you're just like, yep, that's me.
I'm like, yeah,
Thanks,
thanks.
buddy.
Dude, all the other tables were looking at us like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's such a weird
I
joke to be
always
known
get Trader
by.
Joe's guy. And I'm like, I'm more than that. I'm more than that. Oh,
It's so true,
I
right?
got other stuff too.
We're
I talk
like
about farts a lot too. What about that? Can't you say I'm the fart guy?
we're like inside out strippers. Like instead of showing parts of our bodies that no one would show, we tell stories that no one would tell, and then people want to know us just by that.
Yeah.
We're not just emotional nipples.
Yeah. You and your smart analogies. That was a good one.
I think it's because I was a foreigner and sometimes I didn't have words, like big words, so I'd have to use analogies to explain what I meant.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way my brain, ever since then, my brain's worked that way.
You came up with more analogies on this podcast than I have came up with in my life.
Oh, get out of here. Thanks.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
It could be thanks if you like analogies. If you don't like analogies, you're like, and I hate you.
Oh, shit.
Well, this has been
It's
fun.
been a good one.
It's been good.
Where we at? We're at 53. Okay, we're getting close.
Yeah,
Did-
it's-
now.
Do you edit this?
No.
I like it not edited. Good.
Yeah.
It feels more real.
Unless some crazy shit said and the person doesn't want it on there anymore.
oh
But
no,
I
fuck
don't.
that.
Yeah. But
Because this is how real conversations go, yo.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
I don't edit the fat out or the whatever, the dead air.
You know what I like about this episode already is I feel like this is an episode I would listen to just so I can go like, oh, we had so many funny conversations. Like there might be stuff I can literally use on stage.
You can mine from.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I just try to last an hour because it's hard for me to talk for that long. You know.
It is. What'd you do to your knuckle? Did you get in a fight with somebody?
Yeah, that cabinet right there.
Oh, that's the worst knuckle scars.
I wasn't even angry. I was making my bed, tucking my blanket in, and my apartment is so big that my bed has about a 1/4 inch gap between the mattress, the comforter, and the nightstand, and my knuckle banged the nightstand as I was pulling the blanket down. I went, God damn
Oh,
it.
that's the worst.
It wasn't even out of real anger. It's just bullshit.
Dude, you did a good job decorating though. Like, it's funny. Like, okay, can I say something that I mean
I
as
was
a
raised
compliment?
by all women.
That's so weird. I was literally gonna say, if I walked in this apartment and you told me to guess, is it a boy's apartment or a girl's apartment? I'd say a girl's. As a compliment, though.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
As a
I'm in
compliment,
touch
like-
with my feminine side, baby.
Yeah,
I
you're really
fucking-
clean too.
I like going to my hairstylist. I like mani-pedis. I like facials. I like interior decorating, gardening, tea parties. I got no fucking shame.
You're
I
so
don't give
mean
a
to
fuck.
start with. I like
I also
going to
like
my hair.
buck knives and guns, bitches.
You're so mean to start with. I like going to my hairstylist as a bald guy sits next to you.
Oh, it's
That's like
okay.
having a homeless friend and going, "Oh, I can't wait to lay on my bed."
How's that concrete, motherfucker?
I'm like, I'll just be here on this curb.
How's that slab, cue ball? No, but yeah, I was raised by all women. I mean, I got a dad, but he was kind of alcoholic and not there.
Yeah.
Or he was there, but we went to the Moose Lodge and VFW and Legion and wherever beers are $2 all of the time. Any nonprofit bar filled with racism and oldies. That's where I grew up as a kid. Or with my mother. And that was mainly with my mother and 2 older sisters, and I have 80 cousins, and 77 of them are female. I don't know what it is in
Yeah.
my family, but there's like 3 boys and 60 women. I don't know. Anyways,
Wow, that's crazy.
so it was all women all day I was raised by, and I'm fine with it. I
think that's
love
cool.
chi-chis. And yeah, I just like being nurtured and taken care of. And
It's
I was
cool,
the baby
man.
boy of a Mexican family. But on top of that, you know, they got style and I got style, and you gotta, you know, it's all about real wood.
I think it's all about balance, man. Like, I think they're the yin to our yang, dude. Like, it's almost like, I think if somebody grows up in an environment that's too male and they're male, it's like a guy that goes to the gym that doesn't work out on his legs. There's just like this imbalance in the way they behave.
Yeah.
Or like the other way, if it's a girl that goes with just girls, then it's like, it's a, you know, like a guy that just
You need
or-
salt and pepper.
Yeah, man, you need both.
You need a little bit of salt
Yeah.
to give you some calves.
Like maybe
That's my analogy.
I like that. You gotta have calves.
You gotta have calves. You
That
gotta
would be a good
tip over,
t-shirt.
Tweety Bird. You got that big head and no legs.
You gotta have calves. Is such a great. I like that as a way to say you gotta live a balanced life. You gotta have calves.
Yeah, it's true though. I gotta.
It's true, man. Like
Start
if
doing
dogs were sent here to be an example of how to live, like look at how jacked up purebred dogs are, and look how healthy mutts are. So like maybe if the only people you hang around are people who think like you, you're gonna be a pug that dies in his sleep, like
Oh,
versus being around. Like that's why all the most successful, creative, profitable cities in the world are port cities. It's like where people from all different nationalities mix together and people don't care about gender. They're just like, no, this is a working place. Like we just need the best of the best to be here. Nobody cares about all this other
Just
bullshit.
poop where you gotta poop.
Poop
I
where
don't
you gotta
give a
poop.
fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
It's shit, ain't it?
Even
Poop
if
it.
it's on your Trader Joe's boss.
Hey,
just
that's
poop
gonna
where
be
you
my new. That's my new quote right there. You're a good one, dude. You're giving me. This is the imagination station. I said it. Shit, ain't it? Poop it. I like that. I'm gonna get that tattooed on my throat. It'll be my first tattoo.
Did you ever see movie 3.4? It's like an old parody comedy. And they had this guy was talking about how this girl wanted him to poop on her. And then one time in the heat, he's like, I can't believe she wants me to poop on her. He's like, bro, it's cool. You should do it. And then in the heat of passion, he goes, just fine. I'll just shit on you. And she goes, what? What did you say? As if poop was like, I'll make love to you. And shit was like, I'll fuck you. And she got really mad. She
What
goes,
movie is
don't
that?
shit on me.
I gotta watch that.
It was called Comedy Movie 4. It's like a super stupid
oh, just
title.
like it's like the scary movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It was like that. But it was really funny, like the
I love those. I
shit
saw
and
all
poop
those scary
versus
movies.
fucking love.
I saw a scary movie too with my mom in theaters. We don't give a fuck.
Did you really?
Yeah, dude. She's funny like that. We love that shit.
I saw Godzilla with a Japanese friend and his girlfriend who kept screaming. And I was like, this is the most IMAX of any IMAX I've ever been to. I'm like surrounded by screaming Japanese people in real life. I'm like, I feel like I'm there.
Godzilla. Ah. Speaking of poop, towards the end of my podcast, I always ask my I almost said classmate, my guest, do you have any good shitting of the pants stories in a public place? Maybe on Kevin and Bean Live. No, any really embarrassing shit story? You're on a first date and you shart or you know.
Dude, I'll tell you, like when I first moved to New York, like living in California your whole life, my car was always close, you know, and like I always had like deodorant in my car, and like just all kinds of shit. I used to carry just my surfboard in the back of my car all the time, just because your car is like your portable home in California. And then you get to New York and you don't have your portable home anymore. You don't have like your emergency.
You don't got
kit.
those extra chonies in the trunk.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I lived in Brooklyn, but was like meeting a girl in Manhattan, and I was out in Manhattan all day. I didn't smell good. And then I was going on a date with her, but I was so broke that I'm like, I want to eat something before the date so that I don't eat too much on the date.
Yeah.
Like she could eat whatever she wants, but I'm eating light. So I got this like spicy chicken sandwich. It was really good, but I hadn't eaten that day, and the spice messed up my stomach.
Oh yeah.
And then when you're in Manhattan,
That squirts, baby.
and you have to walk so much, like so I had like butt sweat from walking and butt sweat from spicy chicken, and like I had to go to the bathroom really bad, but I didn't want to be late to meet the girl, and I ran into this bar, and it was as if I told my butt, like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
We're going to poop now.
Yeah.
And then I walk in the bar, and then the girl goes, oh yeah, the bathroom's over there. And then I walk to the bathroom and it said out of order.
Oh no.
And then my butt's like, no, we're pooping.
Yeah.
And then I walk out to the girl. I'm like, it says out of order. She's like, oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. And I'm like, ah!
You're like,
ah! So then, dude, I ran out of the bar and I penguin walked like to like it. Dude, no joke. The next two places didn't have bathrooms. And then I ran into a park and I found this public bathroom and I pooped my brains out, but I got stuff on my underwear and on the back of and then I like cleaned myself and I threw away my underwear, and then I met the girl commando. But I washed my butt and my balls in the sink like a homeless man.
yeah, man. I've been there, dude. I've washed my booty and dick in the sink at Trader Joe's at least a half dozen times.
Really?
And there was a time when it didn't have a lock on it, so I had to put my foot on the door and like pray my managers would come in and I'm just splashing my dick.
Dude, I had to. The paper was so harsh that it was like paper towel paper was so
you
harsh.
gotta wet it a little bit first.
Well, I crumbled it in my hands to add wrinkles,
To soften it.
So I was like sitting there crumbling. I looked like a gargoyle because I was like squatting on the toilet and then like squeezing and then like wiping, and I'm like, I was like I had an out of body experience where I'm like, you're disgusting.
Yeah, and when in doubt, just throw your underwear away. I've been there too, where you're like, oh, these are done, and
They were totally
you clean
done
up. And
But dude, the whole time I felt like she could tell.
they can't.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Maybe they can. I got a real sensitive nose. You smell like you shit yourself.
I didn't smell bad. I just smelled like hospital soap.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? That
that's
bathroom
better
smell
than
felt like
shit for sure.
Yeah. And then when I got home, I had these brown paper things all over my. So it looked like my butt had a 5 o'clock shadow, like a cinnamon shadow on my butt
Take
cheeks.
those little fucking razor cuts.
Like my ass had
Yeah,
sideburns.
dingleberries from paper towels.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
that's
the
funny,
worst.
man. And you know what? Straight up, if you haven't cleaned yourself up and washed your ass and or dick and balls in a public restroom out of emergency situations, you ain't lived.
100%.
You know, you gotta live that life. You know.
It made me the next day. 3 different homeless people asked for money. I gave every single one of them $1.
Yeah.
One guy $2 because I shit my pants the day before.
Yeah, you're like, here, man. Here's some baby wipes too. Here you go.
I get what it's like.
You get it. You get it.
Have you noticed the increase in homeless people?
Of course.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so, and it's like, it's funny. Like there's so many homeless people now that they're not weird anymore. I don't look at homeless people as weird. Like, and that wasn't me that was thinking they're weird. It was like programming, you know, like even when I was a kid, like turning me away or pulling me away from a homeless person because we're taught to like treat homeless people like they're freaks. But now there's so many homeless people that I'm like, no, that's just a person in a tent. It's sad.
It's crazy. I just find it disgusting that we could raise. So this is just gonna come out of my mouth because what's happening. We raised $700 million for Notre Dame, right? Or
Wow.
some shit
Yeah,
like
exactly,
that.
yeah.
Which is sad, and that's a tragedy, and that's history lost.
Yeah.
But how about the fucking
living,
homeless
yeah,
people?
exactly, dude.
You know what I mean?
I heard a homeless guy the other day said this thing that froze me in my tracks, dude. It was a fancy lady, like she was wearing a fancy outfit, and she was walking past him, and he said something to her and smiled. And you could tell it wasn't aggressive, like it was like he was trying to be funny, and she ignored him. And then he just shook his head at her, and he yelled out this thing. He goes, "The only difference between you and me is you had a better mom." Yeah. And I just like stopped and looked at him, and he just like shook his head, and I'm like, "Hey, dude," and he looked at me, and I go, "You're right." And he goes, "What?" He goes, "Thanks, man." And I fucking went to the ATM, and I gave him $20, and I was like, "Dude, you're right." I go, I'm sorry you're going through this. I wish I could help more." And he was like, "Thank you." And he was a total human being, you know? Like, it's just like, it's hard to look at them because we see ourselves and it scares us. Because it could happen to anybody.
It makes me so sad. It doesn't matter. I think I've said this before, but what mood I'm in. If I'm like, yeah, I feel good. I look and I'll see that and I go, ah. Yeah. And it just hits me. And I always give money to not all homeless people because, you know, just some are,
you run out of money.
You run out of money, you can't. But my little weird rule is if I see you digging through the trash, you're getting money because it just said like you're still got some work in you ethic, or you know, like you're going to recycle cans, like that's hard. Here's some money. The other shit is like I know you might spend it on drugs or alcohol. Yeah. And I'm not trying to do that, but also you're laying your head on concrete, so fucking here's some money for drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. It's especially hard because we don't talk about it at all. It feels like a huge problem that nobody talks about. There's like so many people living in the street, and it just feels like it's not talked about that often, you know?
Yeah.
But
I always have bags of shit too. Whatever's leaving my house, whether it's old dodgeball t-shirts or sheets or blankets or pillows, that, you know, it just goes in my trunk until I run into a tent. And I always go, "Hey, you want some shit?" And then 99.9% of the time it's like, "Fuck yeah, dude, thanks." And it's nice.
You know what I just noticed about this cold brew that says something about you?
100% organic.
100% organic. And also, these guys fired you.
Yeah.
And you still bought this drink.
Yeah, man. Delicious treats. I got no hate for
awesome, dude. That's a heart full of love.
They set me free, baby. Getting fired from Trader Joe's is the best thing that's ever happened to my career.
I'm half Arab, half Jew. There's so much vengeance in me. I just want revenge.
Hey, let it go, man. Like, let it go.
If someone honks at me, I'm like, fuck everyone that drives a Honda Accord.
Yeah.
Like, I hate everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, fuck that Trader Joe's coffee. Good for you, dude.
No, man. Yeah, you are. What are you going to do?
You're like a fucking wizard.
I hugged my manager that fired me and said, "Hey,
right
thanks,
on.
Pussy."
See, that's awesome. I like when people who have beards actually have wisdom.
Yeah.
There's too many people with beards that don't have wisdom now. You know what I mean?
You just burn all the bridges and you learn.
Yeah. The beard to wisdom ratio has shrunk. Like back in the day, if you're like, "I need wisdom. Is there anybody here with a beard?"
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "Oh, that guy can help." But now it's like, "I'm only 19. I don't know what to do."
Yeah.
It's like dressing like a doctor and someone going, "Is there a doctor in the house?" Like, he's going to die. Yeah. I'm not a real doctor. Like,
good luck.
I'm not a real wizard. Look how tight my sleeves are. I'm not a real wizard.
Yeah.
But you're a wizard, dude. You're a real wizard.
Trying to be. Right. I love, I think that song, it's just called Wizard, or The Wizard.
Is there a song
Black
called
Sabbath. Oh, man.
Oh, dude, I love Sabbath.
Fucking Sabbath. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
It's so rad. It's such a punk rock Jewish name, too, if you think about
Sabbath.
it. Black Sabbath.
It's so dope. One of the greatest bands that ever walked this planet.
It's Black like Sabbath, Flaming Yarmulke.
Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, some mushrooms. Come on, bro. You just set me free.
That's what a combination. It's like peanut butter and jelly, but for rockers.
Yeah. Goddamn peanut butter. Is there any button we should do? Anything else? We're getting towards the end there, Tiger. I can't last a minute past an hour and 9, dude.
No, that's
No.
good. I think that's a digestible amount. Is there any button? What do you mean?
Anything else you
like
want to talk
promote?
about? Any last promotions?
Oh, I have a podcast that I do with my mom.
Yes.
If it's that cool,
Of course.
It's called They Tried to Bury Us. When I was a kid, I got a black eye. My dad accidentally gave me a black eye. He was a boxer, so he'd like reflex. And he gave me a black eye.
Accident.
Yeah, exactly. So like I was embarrassed, and I was embarrassed that I had a black eye, so I used my mom's makeup, and I put foundation on my eye, and then I went to school, and they're like, the kid's wearing makeup, what a fag, and then they punched me in my other eye.
Damn.
And I had 2 black eyes, man.
Damn.
So I came home.
Had a good week.
Right. I came home. There's this old Mexican man, and he's like, what happened to you, man? And I told him, and he was, and you could tell he felt sad.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's gonna get better, little guy, little
In
man.
12 years.
And then yeah, right. And then he goes, he told me this quote: "They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds."
Yeah.
It's like a Mexican civil rights quote that they use that actually started way back in Greece. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. So I started a podcast with my mom called "They Tried to Bury Us," where we interview a different immigrant every week.
That's
so
fantastic.
Every episode is a new American origin story.
That's amazing.
Thanks, dude.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I really dig it.
I wish my grandma was still alive. You could have her
Well,
on
dude,
and not
you could tell
communicate
her
'cause she
story,
doesn't
though.
speak English.
You could tell her story.
Yeah.
If
that's
you
true.
want it, like I had friends who like talked to their moms or their dads or their grandparents, got their story, and then came on. You should do it.
It was said my grandpa stole my grandma from Chihuahua. I swear to God. Yes. Speaking of consent.
That's weird because one time a kid stole a Chihuahua from my grandma.
Yeah. And he said he went to this little town of Chihuahua, and my grandma was like 16 or 17. And he said, "You're coming with me to America. Let's go." And
No
then
way.
she just went. And they went to America and made a life.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Dude, see, back in the day, you could just catch women like you were fishing,
Yeah.
and you go, "You're mine now." That's crazy.
Yeah, and then yeah, my grandpa was crazy. Did I tell this story? So my mom and aunt grew up in the projects in Harbor City, the fucking housing projects. And they had it was a Mexican family, so of course there was a lot of them. And such a large family, so much so that they gave them 2 projects and knocked the wall out to connect
wow.
them. So they had 2 kitchens, 2 living
That's
rooms,
cool.
2 towers. And like other kids that were naive be like, "Wow, you're rich. You have 2 kitchens." And like they didn't know they're in the project. So anyways, like any kid growing up, you're kind of ashamed of your heritage, your culture, or whatever, or that you live in the fucking projects. So my mom was embarrassed that she lived in the projects, and my her father, my grandpa, was such a funny nut job that whenever like they would be at the grocery store and my mom and her sisters would see friends from school, my grandpa would be like, "We live in the projects. We live in the projects."
That's
and
great.
he would just put them on blast and like dance and tap dance and just
That's
because
great,
when
man.
you're 12, that you just died of social anxiety. You're like you don't even want to be seen with your parents, let alone he's dancing, tap dancing with the Mexican accent going, "We live in the project."
See, that's beautiful though. That's tough love. That's like teaching
Yeah.
someone to have pride.
It's like, yo, motherfucker, this is what it is. What it is.
Yeah, this is what we are. Be proud of
Yeah.
it. It's so funny because that's one of those stories like where depending on how you were raised, you'd be like, "Oh, that's mean,"
Yeah.
or "Oh, that's really beautiful."
No, that's funny as fuck.
and funny
I
too.
love it.
But it is really beautiful because it teaches you like, don't ever not be proud of where you're from, no matter what.
No matter what, like it's
Yeah.
like my kid, like if I fucking little boy or girl, they got a crush on whoever over there, will be that dad. Be like, "He really likes you." You know?
I mean, dude,
He's got a boner toe.
I mean, dude, like one of our idols, right? Your idol, like, like that Richard Pryor album you have in your bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Like we're both. Imagine if Richard Pryor grew up saying, "Oh, I'm ashamed that my grandma ran a brothel and I grew up in a whorehouse." He would have never been a comic.
Richard Pryor
He
is the
would've never-
greatest comedian that ever touched this
100%.
fucking planet.
100%.
I still listen to his shit.
Me
and
too.
Crack up till this day. Shit done 40 years ago.
100%.
I wasn't even born yet, and he's talking about freebase and fucking smoking crack. That shit is so funny.
Yeah.
He talks about how like he couldn't get too far away from the
Yeah.
pipe. It starts talking to you. He's like, "Why are you going so far?"
Yeah.
And he starts voicing the pipe, the crack pipe.
Oh, so
And he's
good.
like, "Don't drop me, Richard. It's late. It'll be hard to get another one of me." You know,
He
I'm
was
just
so good at that.
fucking dying.
Remember that and the
He's-
heart attack where
yeah.
he did
Oh,
his heart?
tonight, all that pork.
Oh, it's so good.
If you don't know about Richard Pryor, fucking go buy anything and everything. Watch
100%.
Live on Sunset Strip, one of the greatest specials that has ever been done.
And he did what your grandpa was teaching them. Like if you come from a dark thing or a sad thing, like don't be ashamed. I think that's the secret peanut butter and jelly of comedy.
Just talk about
It's like things that other people would hide for you to celebrate it.
Yeah,
That's comedy at
And
the
our
end of the day.
culture right now is a pussy ass little bitch ass culture where we're sensitive and PC and all that shit. But Joe Rogan said this in the green room, not directly to me, but you know, but I'm at least was absorbent enough to. Because he just spits knowledge, you know, and he's like, the only way the PC police and the fucking internet trolls win is if you listen and obey. And he's like, just keep saying whatever the fuck you want to say.
100%.
His freedom of speech is America. Just say
Yeah.
whatever the fuck. And he's like, oh, go away. That's a fad. He's like,
Totally.
you're raw and you're real. You rise up.
And dude, think about it like this too. Lenny Bruce got arrested when people didn't like his
He
joke.
got killed.
He got
They killed him. They gave him a hot shot.
Yeah, I mean, people were violent towards him. He got arrested. We're not getting arrested. Speak your mind. Speak what you want to say. And like Stanislavski, the acting coach, used to say, that which is most personal is most universal. So if anyone stops you from talking about things that are personal, that's the death of art. Like if it's personal and it's your tweet, say what you want to fucking say. Don't let other people that aren't even in the art form edit you. It's crazy.
So if you are easily offended and on the political correct side, you could go fuck yourself and lick my asshole.
And I don't. It's
Because
like
you're no fun. You don't get enough salt. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, but it's true. Like part of it's like being a boxer and then quitting because somebody else hit back.
Yeah.
I don't care if they hit back. I'm a fighter. I'm a boxer. You're a fighter. You're a
Yeah.
boxer. If they don't like what we say, that's okay. There's people that do like what we say.
Yeah, go build some calves,
Right?
motherfucker.
And that's what real comedy is about. Kinnison used to say, it doesn't matter if everyone in the room likes you. What really matters is if 10% of the room fucking loves you.
yeah.
And sometimes some people are going to have to be offended for you to get to that real material that's really true and honest and deep and like emotionally rewarding for an audience. So it's like, if there's people that hate on you, congratulations. It means you're starting to tip into the next level.
It means you're talking about tucking it in,
Yeah.
baby.
Unless you're like a hate city. Now there's going to be all these Nazi comics. Tamer
Yeah,
Kattan
oh, yeah.
said I'm making it. And like, no, you Nazi.
By the way, we hate speech. So no real hate. But I'll make fun of something. But I come from a place of love. Of course, if you fucking hate speech, you could fucking also die. We
Yeah.
don't believe in that bullshit.
You know what else I hate? I hate when they say white nationalist. Like, no, that's a Nazi.
That's a Nazi.
He doesn't get to change his jersey
Yeah.
because he got arrested for sexually harassing a girl in a hotel. You can't go from Kobe's number 8 to number 32. Kobe got forgiven, but these cats don't. If you're a Nazi, stop being a pussy. You're a Nazi.
Yeah.
There is no white nationalist. You're a Nazi. That's what you are.
Yeah, you're a fuckface.
Yeah, and that's
History
German.
has proven. Yeah, you're a fuckface.
That's
And energy and everything.
Yeah, it's Nazi German. It's like a cover band being able to come up with a new name. No, you're a cover band. You're a knockoff of Nazi Germany. You can't Americanize it now and say, oh, this is the American version. No, it's not. You're a Nazi. You're a copycat. You're a fucking cover band.
You
You
little
suck.
dick bitch. Little
Khakis.
dick.
Yeah.
How's that white nationalist little dick, bitch?
Sorry, I get worked up because my mom has an accent and no one's ever given her shit because she's got such like a positive energy
Yeah.
all the time. And as soon as these white nationalist guys started getting bigger and bigger, people started saying racist shit to her at her work. Not all the time. And my mom's tough, dude. She takes no shit. But as a son, it makes you feel so angry and so helpless.
Yeah.
To not be able to go and choke
Let's go
a dude.
fuck up some
Oh,
white people.
dude.
Where you at, Reginald Denny? I'm coming,
I like
motherfucker. I'm fucking coming.
I like the whites.
Brick house coming your way, motherfucker. Yeah.
Nobody in America is really white, by the way. Like, I came back from England. And I'm like, oh, this is white people.
Oh yeah,
That's white Africa.
Yeah, I don't-
England is like I saw
don't
white
mess
people
with
so
that.
white they didn't look finished.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you're raw.
lay out. You know,
Like, they look wet.
go to the beach. So that's what Overcast does.
Yeah, man. Go get cooked.
I think that's it, man. Right?
Dude, it's
This
so
was a good
fun.
one.
Yeah, it's always good hanging out with you, bro.
And
It was fun. Thanks for having me on.
he is so goddamn funny, so
Thanks.
smart. You heard
So
his
is he.
analogies.
Aw, thanks, man.
We talked about some controversial stuff today, baby, and we're not editing it. You're welcome.
We mean it from a sweet place.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we say that isn't from like a kind, loving place.
Yeah, just don't hate nationalities
or
and
here's an
don't assault.
Or here's an idea. If you hear something on a podcast and a tweet, whatever, and the person isn't a shit person, like you know the person, maybe talk to them about it instead of just going, okay, that person is now from a good person to a shit person. It's like, well, maybe one of the good things about being an activist is that you can actually change minds and recruit people to thinking differently. Maybe that. Instead of just yelling and cussing and
And
going
if they don't
apeshit.
listen, knock their asses out. No.
Yeah. Dude.
No, don't do that.
Scratching is a secret weapon that I haven't used in years. I think scratching is making a comeback.
What the fuck, scratching?
Like in a fight, scratch.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a big guy. I'll do whatever I have to do.
Scratching's making a comeback. It's animalistic. It scares
Yeah.
people. Like, that
Get
guy's a
little-
caveman.
A little gouger.
Can you imagine?
I ain't
if-
got big fists, but I got a finger.
Could you imagine if a guy made you mad at a bar, or you bumped into a guy and he just scratched your arm? You're like, this guy's crazy.
Oh, fuck. You're a cat, too.
No one would believe you. You'd be like, this guy scratched me, so we got in a fight.
This guy's Tabby. He must be running with Trump. Yes!
Tabby. I like Tabby.
Tabby. Thank you so much for listening to Community Service and liking and subscribing and giving me the comments. I see you out there, baby. I get notifications. I read them, and they're almost all positive, so God bless you. And the one negative guy, it's all right. Maybe your dick will get bigger one day, buddy. Anyways, thank you so much. This is Tamer Kattan. Very
Hey,
funny
thanks
guy.
for
I'll
having
tag
me.
him in all this shit.
Thanks,
You can
brother.
He already plugged his podcast. Go buy a plant. Go hug a tree. Go rub some rocks. You know. I love you all. Have a good evening.
Bye.